Hello. Yes, I do have a dress on and I do have my pajama pants on because today we're gonna have a chit chat. Today we're gonna talk about how BookTube has changed my existence. And I'm not kidding. I'm not kidding. I wish I was, or I wish I were. I still don't know the difference between those two. Get your cup of coffee, get your cup of tea, get you a biscuit, because we're gonna sit down and talk. Alright, just to clarify, guys, I wasn't always a reader. I started reading when I was about 15 years old with, I hate to say it, but it's Harry Potter, okay? I hate to say this even more, but I had to read it for high school. Put it like this. Ooh, much better. That's not important. What's important is that I started doing it, okay? I gave it my all. Not because of my own full excitement and the chord or whatnot. I wanted to have some help. I needed some help for the paper that I had to do on Harry Potter. So I started watching BookTube. At the moment, of course, I didn't know it was called that. I didn't know it had a name. Even. I was unaware of this big world in the YouTube community where people discussed books, right? I was unaware of books even. I mean, I wasn't totally not a reader either. I remember reading The Secret Circle before I started reading Harry Potter and I really liked it, but it took me about 2 months to finish a book, which again, it doesn't matter how long it takes you, you're still a reader. But I did not consider myself one. While reading The Secret Circle, I only started considering myself a reader when I started watching people who called themselves readers. Wait, I have a message. And so the high school assignments continued and I read more books. I started filling up my time with reading on the bus, at school, at home. I was watching booktube videos every day. At the time, I was on online bookstores every day as well because I wanted cheap books. I wanted to buy cheap books because I didn't have money to get not cheap books. And as the years went on, I started saving up money, and with all of the money that I'd save, at the end of the month, I would buy 3 to 5, sometimes 10 books if the deals were good. And that would be the happiest time of the month for me. I used to watch a lot of Sasha Ellsberg and these other YouTubers that I'm forgetting the names of, but I used to love them, especially this girl who used to do 24-hour readathons. I used to eat them up. And I attempted the 24-hour readathon myself, and I read this one particular book, a thriller, a great book, a great book. And so that's how it started. I watched BookTube every day since I was 15 to about 19 years old. That's 4 years of watching BookTube every day. And you can imagine that has a big influence on someone. When you consume something absolutely every single day, it tends to become a part of you in one way or another. So when I was 19, I graduated from high school and I decided to study philosophy. And in the first year of university, I also worked full-time at a used bookstore. It was fun. I worked there for a whole year. It was very interesting, my first job. I got to know the customers and I got to know their reading tastes, and I'd recommend them books or they would recommend me books. And if we would get new books, I would think, this customer would like this book. Let me save it and show it to them next time, right? So that's why for me this was a great experience overall. But my book jobs did not stop there. I went on to have another 3 bookish jobs. I worked in a used bookstore. I worked in an online bookstore, in a mall bookstore. I did inventory for another used bookstore, and I guess that's kind of it. And all of this lasted for about 4 years. 4 years of me doing this, being surrounded by books and by readers, which is, of course, a direct product of me watching BookTube every day. Because also in my life, I didn't really have that many reader friends. I will admit that when I was a teenager, my friends used to read a lot more than they do now. And we did have more things to talk about because of that. But since then, we kind of drifted apart because of many multiple reasons. And this being one of them, I think, actually, if I think about it, this is definitely one of the reasons why we drifted apart, because we kind of stopped having things to talk about. With some of them, not all. And actually, when I was 16, I started a Bookstagram as well. And I deleted it since, I'm 24 now. That is long gone. There are just a couple of websites you can get books from in Romania, right? Where you can get books in English from. And one of them was this website that I was actually following them on Instagram and I saw these cute homey posts of the employees having coffee and talking about books and whatnot. And I was thinking at the time, that would be a really cool place to work at. I have a video of me opening a package from them when I was 16.
Minha preguiça de ter. Daí de fumaça.
I ended up working there when I was 21. And my reading tastes have changed so much throughout the years as well. I mean, I was very into fantasy when I started reading and watching booktube because all of the booktubers that I watched were very much into fantasy, especially Peru's project. Reagan, she was every video of her, she had some fantasy book that she was reading. And I picked up The Name of the Wind because of her. And I'm still on book 2. I've been on book 2 for 3 years. The first book I got through in 3 days was Red Queen by Victoria Aveyard. And I remember thinking, I cannot believe that I got through this book so fast. I must be an undiscovered talent. It must be magic. That really was a moment in my life when I realized how much I love reading. I know it sounds cheesy. But that was it. And then, I picked up many other series that I saw everybody reading, like Throne of Glass, The Wrath and Dawn, and whatnot, which that was very hyped. And I started picking up books that I never thought I would read, like Nora Roberts. I used to not go out sometimes because I wanted to stay in and read, and I think that is absolutely fair. You shouldn't feel ashamed about that. You should still have a balance in your life, but sometimes, it's a period. It's a period of your life that you gotta accept. It's been definitely a wild ride. At the beginning, I used to make myself read at least 100 pages a day because for some reason for me, I really thrive on challenges like that. And at the end of the day, I think I was just looking for books that would spark an emotion in me. And you know what? Actually, I wasn't even looking for them. They were all coming to me because of booktube, because I was watching the right people for me at the time. For some reason, I was much more easily influenced back then. Well, not for some reason. I was younger. Of course, I was much more easily influenced. The impression that books used to leave on me was much stronger than it is now. So now it's harder to find books that, make life worth living. And back then, it was as if I found an oasis. All of these people that I used to watch were really very important. They were actually very important. Not them per se, but everything that they put out. Well, them also, actually, because I wasn't watching anyone that I didn't like. If I liked you, I was gonna watch every single piece of content that you put out. And really, I feel so blessed for sticking with it and for finding that in my teen years because I truly don't know what else I would have done and where I would be now. I think at some level, I really do feel like we're meant for some things that happen to us. For the things that we're passionate about, we're meant to do them. Sometimes they happen without us necessarily observing it. We get to realize what happened to us, the way that we've changed only later in life. I think because of just the way that I am, just because of my personality, because of the fact that I like stories, I just gravitated towards booktube and towards books. But the thing is that until I found booktube, as I was saying, I was reading, okay? It took me 2 months to read a book and it was fine. And I was really enjoying it, but I didn't have the urgency in me. I don't know. I didn't have the urgency to read as much as I could. I didn't have the excitement to read more books. It was just lacking for some reason, and I think it was because I was lacking people that had that in my life. And booktube gave me exactly that. It was exactly what I needed at exactly the right time. Thank God for that Harry Potter assignment that I had in the 9th grade because I don't know how it would have happened. I still think I would have found booktube and I still think I would have latched onto it. I just don't know when and how. So what can I say? Stay true to yourself, stay true to your values, and believe that what is for you will come. And stay open and latch on to things. Be excited about things and try to do your fucking best, And yeah, that's all I had to say. Later, I'm gonna go pick up Stoner from the locker box thingy because it arrived and I cannot wait to reread that book. Thanks for watching. I'll be seeing you sooner than you think. Ciao.